This lesson is going to focus on the evidence response portion of your body paragraphs. So our goal for this lesson is to be able to use rhetoric in your responses to your evidence for your body paragraphs. So you may be wondering to yourself, well, exactly what is rhetoric? Well, it's the art of speaking or writing effectively. It's the art or science of using language to influence the thought and behavior of an audience. Our goal of our persuasive paper is to influence the reader to take our point of view. So therefore, we need to use rhetoric to be able to do this. So our goal is to expand our responses to the evidence that we have chosen throughout our body paragraphs. In order to be a more effective writer, you need to use rhetoric. This will also help make your writing more persuasive and more convincing. You will use three types of rhetoric in your writing. You will use ethos, you will use pathos, and you will also use logos. You're going to watch a video that's going to define these terms for us. This will help build your background knowledge about these three types of rhetoric.
Speakers use to appeal to their audience: ethos, pathos, and logos. I'm going to use these three modes of persuasion to try to get my daughter to eat spinach. Ethos is an ethical appeal where the speaker establishes credibility. You should eat your spinach because Dr. Oz says spinach makes little girls grow up to be pretty, smart, and healthy women. I would know because I ate my spinach when I was a little girl, and I grew up to be a successful lawyer and your mommy. Also, you love Barney, right? And Barney loves spinach! And I think you would make Barney happy if you ate your spinach. Good girl. Pathos is an appeal to the audience's emotion. You should eat your spinach because you love your mommy, right? And don't you want to grow up to be healthy so you can take care of mommy in the nursing home? And don't you think you should eat your spinach because children in Ethiopia are starving and they don't have any spinach to eat? I bet they'd be really thankful to have spinach right now. There you go. Logos is appeal using reasoning and logic. You should eat your spinach because it has a lot of vitamins in it for you. It's full of calcium, fiber, and folic acid. Also, as I'm reading online here, according to the Cancer Center for Disease Control and Prevention, ovarian cancer is the fifth leading cause of cancer-related deaths. Also, researchers in 2008 discovered that the flavonoids in spinach can help prevent cancer. Yay!
I'm eating spinach to make Mommy happy, Dr. Oz happy, Barney happy, the kids.
All right, so hopefully that video helped you come up with a definition for logos, pathos, and ethos. So go ahead and try to come up with those definitions. What are they? Well, if you said ethos has to do with the credibility of the speaker, you are correct. If you said that pathos has to do with that emotional connection to the audience, then you are correct. And if you said that logos is the logical argument, then you were correct. What we're going to do now is we're going to learn a little bit more about each type of rhetoric. All right, so the first one is ethos. And this is the speaker's authority or credibility. This comes from the Greek definition of character. So in order to convince people to agree with you, you need to have established that you are worth listening to. If your audience thinks that you are trustworthy, knowledgeable, likable, and respectable, they'll tend to believe what you are saying. The impression you make on the reader is just as important as the information that you present. So you may be thinking to yourself, okay, how do I do that in my writing? Well, one way to do that is to use proper grammar. You need to make sure that you have your words spelled correctly, capitalized correctly, and punctuated correctly. You also need to use impressive but appropriate vocabulary. Again, we shouldn't be using words like bad or good in our writing anymore. Those are boring words. You need to start using words that are more sophisticated. Use your thesaurus to help you find more sophisticated vocabulary. The third thing that you need to do is you need to acknowledge the opposition. You will do this in your concluding paragraph. Also, you need to make sure that you use credible sources and also cite those credible sources so the author knows where your information is coming from. It's also important to remember if you are taking a quote from the article that you need to put that quote in quotation marks because it's not your words, and if you don't put it in quotation marks, it's then considered plagiarism. And then also you need to be organized in your writing. Be sure that you are following the format that I gave you to organize your writing, as that will make you more credible. All right, the next type of rhetoric is pathos, and this is the emotions. So when we think of pathos in reference to the Greeks, the word means suffering and experience. So what you need to do is you need to make sure that you're appealing to the audience's emotions. If you can inspire an emotional connection with your audience, they're going to be more likely to agree with your position. So as you are going through your essay and writing your body paragraphs, you should really be thinking to yourself, how can I make my reader feel something? What you want them to do is you want them to feel anger or pity or sympathetic to your cause. Again, this will make them agree with you. So how do we use this in our writing? Well, first you need to be passionate about the topic. Also, you need to draw the emotion from your audience. Set the stage, tell a story, ask them, what if, or what would you do? Make them think about the situation. Also, appeal to the audience's needs. So think about, how is this going to influence or affect them? Also, make sure that you choose your words very carefully. Again, using that appropriate language, but using words that have strong connotation. And then also show commonalities with the reader. Why would the reader want to listen to you? What do you have in common with them? Finally, the third type of rhetoric is logos, and this is logic. And this logos just comes from the Greek word word. So, looking at logos, logos means to persuade an audience by using logic. This is where you present facts, evidence, and reasons to convince your audience. Citing authorities and showing that your argument is well researched can lend your argument credibility and therefore make you more persuasive. So how do we do this in our writing? Well, I'm going to get rid of these as we go through and kind of talk about them one at one. You first need to make sure that you cite your facts. So be sure to give credit where credit is due. Also, construct logical arguments. Your evidence should build off each other within your body paragraphs. So your second piece of evidence really should also kind of have something to do with your first piece of evidence. Use those pieces of evidence to build and strengthen your arguments. Also, giving solid evidence for your argument, making sure that it's the best evidence out there. Also, be thorough in your reasoning. So when we're looking at these warrants or these responses, they now need to be more than one sentence. You should at least have 2 to 3 sentences for every warrant. And then also you need to make sure that you stay on topic, that you are focused with whatever that reason is with that body paragraph and your evidence, that you're not veering off and talking about something different. All right, so let's see if you can identify these types of rhetoric. Each type is used once. Go ahead and pause the video while you are trying to identify them, and please start the video once you have done that. All right, looking at our first one. By buying our cards, you support us in our ongoing journey of standing up for the basic rights of children. Did you say that this was pathos? If you did, then you were correct. Here's our second example. Have trust in me. I've always been there with you at times of adversary. Did you say that this was ethos? If so, then you were correct. And finally, our third one. A report about the war in Iraq assessed nearly 100,000 deaths and many more injuries. Well, this leaves logos. So to simply review, your evidence response is what you guys are working on, and this is what we refer to all year as the warrant. This provides the analysis, opinion, interpretation of your evidence. This is your personal take, your opinion, your comments. You also need to show how your evidence is related to your topic sentence. So your evidence responses can be inferences, they can be analysis, they can be interpretations, they can be your opinion, they can be insight into something new. Again, and this is really important right here, it needs to be multiple sentences. Your warrant is no longer a single sentence. I'm looking for 2 to 3 sentences. And also, finally, make sure that you're using what we just talked about in this lesson. Go back and use rhetoric. Try to use ethos. Try to use pathos. And try to use logos. Go back and watch this lesson as much as you need to review those 3 types of rhetoric. So what you need to do right now is you need to work on your responses to your evidence for paragraph B, C, and D. Please make sure that you use rhetoric to do this.